Hi students, so this is the point where we left our last lecture when we are talking about the const, where we can use the const variable or const type of the variable. They are local variables which we declare in our block, and they are not global variables. And the other thing, normally we use these const to declare the objects of the array or the objects of a class or objects of a function or a regular expression. So what was the reason? So if I just try to here, so you can see that I have used that. Let me open the pen. So I have used the const cards, and then I assign an array of the strings, which has been like it has different names: Saab, Volvo, and BMW. And then if I try to log it, it actually print me the whole array on that console in the browser. And then I can also go and change. When I say this thing, actually it will go here and change this value from Saab to Toyota. So this Toyota will come down here at this place at the zero index value. So why, I mean, the arrays are the reference type variable. If you remember, if we declare an integer array in the Java, for example, we have int, and then we have the array, for example, AR, and then we say that this, and then we can give the values 1, 2, 3, and so, for example, 4 values. So what it will do, it will go into the memory, and it will actually create these 4, 5 values over there. Okay, so it will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. But this is an array, the actual values which exist inside the array. So this AR is the name of that. So this AR is actually a memory area where it has the address, the location, we can say it is a reference. So reference of this location where the actual values of the array exist. And this is an address. So this actually AR is representing this memory area where the address of the actual values which exist inside the array is there. So this address, if we lose this address, if we change this address, for example, then what will happen? We will lose the access to this array. So that's why if we make that constant, so it means this name, for example, if I say cars, so this is a array with the 3 values inside it, and then we have Saab, then we have Volvo, then we have BMW. So now this cars is actually an array area or a reference or the address of this memory area where the actual values of that array exist. So what will happen? This cars is actually this represent the address location. So if I change the address, then I will lose the access to my array. So that's why we are declaring it as a constant. Okay. So in case we try to change that array, if I try to change that array to a new array, then it say that no, you cannot change that because we don't want to change that. We don't want to lose that address which is saved in the car as the address location. So that is why we can make these variables which are of the array type or the object type or a function type or regular expression. We can save them as a constant because they are reference type variables and we don't want to lose that address which is stored in those variables. Okay. So if I do that, then it will give me an error that assignment to the constant variable at this specific in this specific file in that line number 35. And then if I try, I mean, this is the print of this one, this one, the first console log. And then after we have changed the informations inside the cards, and then we also add a new array of element here. So then it will print me the new array: Toyota, Volvo, BMW, and Audi. So the objects for the arrays, we use if we want to declare an array, we use the brackets, okay, and or we can say that the big brackets or the braces, not braces, if we say brackets or the big brackets. But here we say curly brackets. We call them the curly brackets, and inside the curly brackets, we can give a key value pair. We have a key value, key, which represents, we can say, the name of the variable, and then this is the actual value which exists in that variable. So we have a key value pairs that we can save inside our object. We will discuss more about the object in next lecture when we dive deeper into the how we can create the object, how we can use them. I mean, here I just write down the variable name and the value, variable name and the value, variable name and a value. So we have three different variables or the key value pairs inside the car object, but we can also have the function inside it. In those curly brackets, we can also have the function. And because again, the object of this object, which actually contains the type, then they have the model, then it have the color. This is the actual object of the class. And then again, the car is a reference which has the location where that object exists. So this car is actually this reference and the address. So that's why we make them constant so that we don't want to change. We don't want to lose that address to the of the object of our car. So that's why we also declare them as a constant. And if you have, need more information, then you can click on that link, and then you can get more information about that constant and how we can declare different type of variables using the constant. Okay, so we are also changing the value. We are also actually adding more values inside it. I mean, we are changing the value. So who is the type? We are changing the color from white to red, and then we are also adding one more thing here. We are saying answer dot honor. So if you look at that, we have the type, the keyword or the type variable or the model variable or the color variable, but there does not exist an honor variable. So what it will do, it will actually create a variable name honor and then assign the value Johnson. So it will have the what you can, it will change that object and add the key of the honor, and then it will add the value of the Johnson inside it. And if we try to print it, actually it will print this complete. So now it has the type, model, color, and then it will also have the honor inside it. So if we are trying to access a key value which does not exist inside our object, and then we assign that value, then actually it will create that key and then automatically assign that value. So it will change the object. And then definitely when we talk about object, we will discuss more about that. But yes, we can even create on runtime, we can create new variables inside or do new key value pairs inside our object. Okay, so if we try to assign a different object to that one, because we have defined it as a constant, so we cannot assign it to a new object. So we have to create maybe a car one to define it, but we cannot define it like that. Inside the JavaScript language, we also have the arithmetic operators. We have addition, subtraction, multiplication. This double star is actually exponential. For example, if I want to calculate the 4 raised to power 5, then I in the JavaScript I will write 4 star star 5. So that will calculate the 5 raised to power 4 raised to power 5. Okay. So that is this one. Then we have a division. Then we have a modulus operator. Modulus operator is if I divide, find the modulus of 2, then it will give me the value of the 1. Because when we divide 2 on 9, then it is not a completely divisible number on the 2. So it will give me a remainder 1. So modulus operator will give me that division remainder. And then we also have the increment. Increment mean that we are increasing the value by 1 or the decreasing by value 1. That is the increment and decrement operators. So they are also exist inside the JavaScript language. We also have the assignment operator where we are assigning the value to a variable. Okay, so we have a equal to operator where we can say that x is equal to 4, so it will assign the value of the 4 to the variable x. And then I say f x plus equal to plus equal to 3, so what will happen, it will whatever the value of the x is, I mean if I say it is value is 4, so it will add 3 inside the value of the 4 and assign that value to the x. So actually this way is statement is exactly same as this one. So we are saying whatever the value of the x is, add 4, and then whatever the answer comes in, it assigned to the variable x. So we can write it x plus equal to 3 in a more short form. We also have minus equal to y. So again, this is equal to this one. then we have multiplication equal to y, and then it is equal to this one, then with division equal to, modulus of equal to, and then the exponent or the power equal to. So in this way uh, we can do different type of the assignment operators that exist over there. We also have the comparison operators where we are comparing two different uh, the values, if they are equal or if they are not equal, or if they are greater than or less than, greater than equal to or less than equal to, then we also have a term. So we can use these kind of the operators to build the logical expressions that can be used in the if conditions or inside our loops to as a termination condition. So when the loop should terminate, I mean, we need to check some conditions. So the logical statements, and then if that is true, then it will continue the loop, and if it is false, then it will stop that false. So if it is in the if statement, if the expression is true, then we will execute the body of the if. Otherwise, we will not execute the body of the if. So these are the different comparison operators. Do you want me to explain more about that, or it is okay? Because you have already seen all these operators. I think this is the one thing that is a ternary operator. So that maybe I can explain. For example, here again it is equivalent to an if condition, but we can write in more a compact form. So what does it mean? For example, if I say we have a variable x and its value is 5, and then after that I write if x is greater than or equal to 5, I put a semicolon here. Then after that I write down two statements just separated by the, so here I say, for example, console greater. In the console I want to print the greater value, console.log. I'm not writing it, okay, but here I say less. So what will happen? It will check the value of the y, x value, so not y, x variable. And if the x is greater than or equal to 5, then in case of true, in case of true value, it will execute this part of the thing. In case of the false, if this statement results in a false, then it will execute that. So we are giving two different if and else part, but we are writing in one line rather than we are writing the if condition. If x is greater than or equal to 5, console.log greater, else console.log less. So rather than I write this like if condition here, and then I put a curly bracket, I say greater, and then in the else part I write down something like this less. So rather than I write this whole code, I can just write in one line, and then it will work. So this is a ternary operator, that how it operates. We give a condition, we have a logical expression. If it is true, it will execute the first part, otherwise it will execute the second part. So that is the ternary operator, and I hope know. Then we also have the logical operators. If we can combine different type of the logic expressions into the AND operators, the OR operators, and then we can also negate it, not one. So if you need more details of the examples and so on, you can click on the link, and then you can go there and then have more information about that. And in the JavaScript, we have 8 different data types. The string value, we already seen that it's a string, which is represents some sequence of the characters. We also have the numbers. We can have negative numbers, we can have positive numbers, we have real numbers, and so on. We also have the big int value. The big int is more like a very, very big number. And if you want to define, if you want to specify that this number is a big int, then you have two different values. Either you write x is equal to 79. It is not a big number actually, but I can write at the end a small n. If I write that small n at the end of the value, then it will say that it is a number, but it will be a big int value. So you can see that I also put this number here, n as well here. And then if you don't want to use this n, then you have a big int method. You give the value as an input to this method, and it will create a big int number, and that value will be assigned to variable y. Okay. So I mean, of course, if you have a very, very big number or big integer value, then you can use that big int. Otherwise, we can just live with the simple number values. We also have the Booleans data type, which is true and false, which tell you it is more like a logical or expression. We also have undefined. For example, if I just define this variable let car, now I have not assigned a value to this variable yet. Then the value, I mean, it will create a variable inside the memory. It will create a car variable, and there it will be nothing. Or you can say that it is undefined. Okay. So if you just declare a variable and does not assign any value, then the value of that variable will be undefined. Okay. Or the type of that variable will be undefined because we have not specified any value. And that's why we don't know what will be the type of this car. So that is an undefined data type. And then we can check, we can check the, for example, if I say car here, if I say car is equal to undefined, if I say let ABC, we also can assign the value, but I can say if car is double equal to undefined, and undefined is also a keyword inside the language, then we want to print something on this console, or maybe we want to do some actions on it. So we can compare the values of the car variable with the undefined, and it will be undefined. Then we also have a null value. Normally for the objects we use the null value. That object doesn't exist. It means more like an address type of things, where we can say that we are defined an array, but this array does not have any values inside it. So we can say it if it is null or not. Then object can be null. We also have a symbol and object type. Object, it means when we are creating a class object, it is an object type of the variable. Okay. So then we also have symbols. Symbols are the unique and immutable. Unique and immutable mean once you have defined a symbol, then you cannot change its value. Only the first time when you're defining it or creating it, then we can have a value. But after that, we cannot change it. Just like a constant, we cannot change the value. Just here as well, when you define the constant symbol, then after that, you cannot change its value. Uses are used as a unique identifier in objects or the classes. So it is more like if I just try to say in terms of the databases, we have the primary key that is uniquely identify a specific row. So if we want to uniquely identify an object or a class, then we can put that symbol inside it, and then we can uniquely identify that object of the class. Again, we can create, for example, here we are creating a symbol. So my symbol is equal to a symbol. Symbol is more like a method which exists in the JavaScript, and when you execute that method, it will return me a unique string value or unique pattern that is assigned to this my symbol. And then now inside the object of my car or object of a class, I can have this symbol and assign some value. Okay. So now I'm creating what you can say that I am creating a key value using that symbol, a unique key value inside the object. Okay. So if you need more details, please click on that, and then you can learn more about this data type. Then we also have type variables if we want to find out the type of a variable. For example, here created a global variable using the automatic method, and then I assign a value as a number. So when I print something on the console like type of the number, so I'm asking what is the type of this variable number? Print it on the console, so it will print the number, because it is a number. And then after that, if I say str is equal to one string, and then if I try to print the type of the string, it will show me a string value on the console. So type of is a method or operator that can help us to find out the type of the variables which exist inside our code. Then we also have the named block. Function is a named block. It has a name for that specific block that we created. Yesterday we see a block like this, where I just created this thing, and then this thing I write some line. So this is something which is, we can say that it is unnamed block, because we cannot execute this block. Yes, it is come in a sequential form and it will be executed, but we cannot reuse it. Only so function is a named block. How we can create a function? So we will use the function keyword to define a function. This is followed by a function name. Of course, we need to put a space between that, and then we have an identifier for the function name. And then after that, we have a list of the parameter. And this list of the parameter is optional. I mean, there are some function that which does not have any parameter, so they will be zero parameter. There are some function which or the method which has one parameter or two parameter. So there is no limit on how many parameters should be there inside the method. So zero or more parameters we can list down here inside the brackets here. And then after that, we have this curly bracket, and then it is a closing curly bracket. So anything that is come inside, we call it a body of that, what you can say that the body of that method or the function. Okay. And then in this way, we can create a named block or a method or a function that we can reuse as many times as we want. Again, if how we can invoke, so let me define a function here. So we have a function here, and then we have a function name here, and then we have parameter one, we have parameter two. If I want to execute this function underscore name, we need to use the name of the method to execute this method. And then if you look at that here, I have three different versions of these executions. If I say function underscore name without giving any parameter, yeah, any questions? Hello? I think so maybe it is an error. Someone turn on his mic and then speak. Uh, Here, it will execute this same function here, function underscore name, it will execute this function. If I say function underscore 23, so I'm giving the value of the first parameter, okay, but I'm not giving the value of the second parameter. Still, it will execute this function. Of course, right now we are not doing anything in function. We will see the example, then it will be clear. And then in this third one, I am giving two values. So this value is again go into the first parameter, the parameter one, and then this value will go into the second parameter. So now these two parameters have the values of 23 and 45, but it will always execute. So I use this line, it will execute this function. I use this line, again is execute this function. I use this line, again it execute this function. So it doesn't matter if you are providing the parameter or not. So that's come to another interesting fact about the JavaScript. In the Java that you have already studied, or maybe you have studied some other languages like in C++, or the C sharp or some other regular languages, then you need to provide the parameter to execute or to call that function. But here in the JavaScript, the list of the parameters are optional. You provide it or not, based on the name of the function, it will execute that function. So here is an example of the function. I'm saying a greeting function which give a greeting message to our users. So I'm trying to say that name, and if the value is not given, like here, if I just go back here the values are not given. When the values are not given, then what will happen? This parameter one is also undefined, parameter two is undefined. In the second one, parameter one is not is defined because it has the value of 23, but second parameter is undefined. So if we are not providing the value of this name variable when we are executing this method, then this name variable will be undefined. So we are checking in the body of our method that if the name is undefined, then you print something like this one on the screen. But if the name has been given by the user, then show that name and welcome that user. So here we are saying that greeting, and then because when we say greeting, it will come into this one, name is undefined, so it will execute this specific line and it will print welcome Abbas message on our web page. But if we are providing the value, then it will come in the else part and then print welcome John on the screen of the page. So here we have executed these functions and they print actually two different messages on the web page. Any questions so far? No questions? Okay, so this is, first greeting will print the message of the welcome Abbas, and the second execution of this method will print the welcome John message on this one. We also have the return type, so we can also return some value from our function. So if we want to do that, first of all, whenever we execute a return statement inside our method, it will stop that specific method. So here I'm checking if the name is undefined, print this message on the page and then return. It means at this point, this execution of this function will stop, and then this line will not be executed after it. Okay, if we go into that if condition. Okay, but if we don't go into the if condition, I mean the name value has given in the second case, the name value of the John has been given. If the value is given, then it will not go into this one. It will directly come into this line and print this message on the page, on the page. Here we also have, we can also return some value as well. Rather than only stop the execution of the method, we can also return a value. So we are saying number one, number two, and if the number one or the number two, they are undefined, then we can tell the user, then please provide the two numbers that you want to add, because you are not providing me both of the numbers. So if the both numbers are given, then we are saying that we are going to return the sum of these two numbers back to the calling or the execution, the point where this method has been executed. So we are say defining a variable x is equal to 45, y is equal to this, and then we say document.write. And I hope that you remember document mean that we are talking about the HTML document, and inside that HTML page or the document, we want to write a h3 tag, sum of x and y values is this. So we are printing this, so we are executing this method and giving these x and y two values. It will check if the x and y or the number one, number two are undefined, which are defined because we have provided these values. And then it will come down here and return this value. So this value will be returned at this point, and it will be printed a message on the screen like this: sum of the 45 and 67 is 112. Okay, so similarly, we can also create the alias or the second name of the function. We have defined of add method, but here we are saying that the sum is equal to not the alias. Alias is coming next, I suppose. Then actually we are executing this method, and then we are saving the return value inside another variable. So we are creating another variable sum, and then whatever is being returned by this method, we are saving in the sum. So we can use that three different variables to print a message on the screen, and again it will print me the same message on the screen. Function as a variable, so here we are saying that, so we have add, defined a add method, then we define these two x and y variable, then now we say sum is equal to add. So now actually sum has become a second name for this method. So we can execute this method whether we use the add or use the sum. So we are giving a second name or we are giving an alias to the name to this method. So we are executing this method using the sum or the second name or alias of this add method, and then we provide the parameter list x and y. And again, it will print me the same statement on our page. Okay. So we can also have something like this multiplication, and then we can say the multiplication xy, so it will work and it will print me the multiplication of these two values. And then if we say multiply, because we have not defined a second name as a multiply for this method, then it will say no, we cannot access it. But here if you look at that, this function is anonymous. We are not giving any name because after this function I don't have any name. So now we are actually assigning this unnamed function or the anonymous function to this variable multiplication. So we are assigning the function as a value to this variable multiplication, and then we can use the multiplication inside our code to execute this anonymous function as well. So either in the previous example, we have defined a function with the name it, and then we assign a second alias or the second name for that method. But here we have an anonymous function that we are assigning to a variable. So yes, we can do that. So that is also a possibility. But of course, these kind of possibilities are not in Java. It does not exist. So you can't do that. Okay. I, I need to rethink about that statement, but yeah, okay. So again, when you use the variable and then give the parameter list, it will print that message on the screen. And then again, if I say multiply, and then because we have not defined the second name or the alias for the multiplication, this function as a multiply, so it will not work, and it will give me an error message. We multiply is not defined. I don't know what is the meaning of the multiply 3 and 4. Again, why we use the function? Function is a divide and conquer. We are dividing a bigger problem into a smaller problem, solve the problem, and then we can reuse that code as many times as we want. Increase the code manageability. It will make the code more modular. We can do some extraction because what we need to understand that what this function is doing, and then what are the parameters I need to provide, and then what will be the return type of that one, what how it is creating those how it is doing all the processing. That is something which is the hidden inside the function, so we can apply some abstraction. We can also write functions inside the JavaScript. They are also considered as an object. Okay, so we can say that if I say type of the multiplication, it will give me the value function. The function is more like inside the inside JavaScript. Array is also an object. Function is also an object. So when we will see that in details about that uh, practical part, then you will see that how we can use them as a function. Actually, I will show you in the practical part. Okay. And then we also have the lambda functions or array functions, arrow functions. So here is more like, we can write something like this. For example, we have some parameters A and B, and then I can just do that A plus B. And then what will happen? It will take two parameters, and then it is going to return me the value of the sum of these two values. So again, we can use the arrow functions to uh, short down rather than writing the function and all that. So we can just simply write down the anonymous functions using this one, which return only do some one value. Or but even not if I say we have the variable a and b, which is arrow, and then I can write the multiple lines here as well, and then I can close it. So it is more like a function. But here we are executing one line, return me a plus b. But here we have multiple statement that we want to execute in this function. Then we can write something like this. Okay. So that is an arrow function. And then if you need more details about the arrow function, how we can use it, how we can create it, so you can go into there. And that is the end of our lecture slides. So let me quickly create what you can say that I don't want to keep them. So we are here. So let me quickly start open that start a new one. So let me open I want to open a new folder. So practical, I will show you a few things that here. Again, I go into the desktop. I say 11 a.m. Then we are in the week number 6. So I say week 06, and here I can show you that how we can actually do that. So I will just select that one. Right now, this function is this method is what you can say that empty. This folder is empty. So I will just create an index.html file, and then here I say shift one, press enter, so it will generate. So we say JavaScript practice, and then so we first of all remember that we talk about that we can write JavaScript anywhere, but we just need to have a script tag. So I will just try to create an h1 tag here, and then I don't put anything here, and then I give the ID value, which is our main dash head. Okay, so I just give that name or the ID value to this h1 tag. Now I can write the script that like I can now start a script tag opening and closing, and inside I can write, for example, I say uh, console.log. I want to log the value. This is a log message from JavaScript. Okay, and then we can put a semicolon. If I just don't put a semicolon and press S, when I control S, because of those extension that we have installed, it is automatically putting that semicolon for me. So let me using the live server extension, and then it will show me. Okay, always allow. Yes, I want to allow that thing. And where is my, yeah, here it is coming. So I will just try to put it, bring it here. So now you can see that there is nothing in that page right now. Why? Because of this thing that we did not put anything inside as a content here, and that's why it is not showing me. So let me quickly, what I will do, I will just do that so that we can also see the code as well as we can see the output of that code as well. Okay, so this is our right now the method. If I put something here, for example, it is a heading. When I save it, so you can see the heading, but right now I don't want to do that heading from our variable. So how, where I can see this message in the console? So I can just go here and then I can say more tools, and then I say open the dev tools. When I open the dev tools inside the console, you can see that this is a log message from the JavaScript. It is there. Okay. So let me put these, what you can say that I want to change it to this one. No, I just don't. Okay, let me like this. So you can see it down there. Okay. So we have this. Okay, so we have this console or the elements, and if I can say that we have the body element that which has thing, then we can also look at the source code. Can I see that one? If I just try to put it up, where is the source? If I click on the index, so you can see that I can see my the source code for the HTML file as well. Okay. So remember, I told you that I want to put that whenever we are creating a link between the JavaScript file, then we always do at the here, if I say script, and then we do here, and then we have the source files, and then we have a bootstrap ending. So I say that always do that just before the finishing of the what you can say that the body. Okay, when we are finishing our. So why I do that? The reason is that if I try to, for example, we are saying that inside the H1, I want to put something. I want to put some heading over there from JavaScript, not directly writing here. Okay. So I can go here inside the script tag and then write a statement. I say document dot get element by its ID. And then that ID is actually a main dash head. Make sure that the spellings are right, and then say we have the inner uh, HTML, and that will be some text, some string, and then that string, for example, it is a heading from JS. When I do that, and if I go back the console, we have a message. What it is trying to say that cannot set the properties of a null value in an HTML. The reason is that why we are having this error message. The reason is that, let me put say alt Z so that we can see the complete code. So now, as you know that the HTML is executed line by line sequentially, line number 1, line number 2, line number 3, line number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So in here at this line, what I'm saying, I say inside the document, go and find an element with the name main head. But right now, this page is not fully loaded inside the document. Understand? So we are executing before the fully before the load of that specific page, and then we are trying to access. So we are define the ID value, but we are executing this line before this H1 element has been created inside our page. So when we are trying to access it before, then it will create me a problem. But if I just try to remove that line from here and refresh my, if I just do that, now again, you can see that in the console, I don't have any error message, but it's printing me that message. But here, if I just come down here, I write the script tag, and then here, if I just do that, now you can see that I can get that value, because at this point, this element H1 with the ID value has been created. It is there inside the document. So once it is there inside a document, then if I try to access that element, then yes, I can access it and I can change its property of the inner HTML, and then I can see that. So that is the problem, that when we are writing the script tag or we are connecting our with our external file inside our Java heading or the header, then it may create these kind of the problems, because we are trying to access something from the body, and body has not been created yet, and then it will give me an error message. So That's why we always say that whenever we want to connect or write a JavaScript, we write at the end of the body, number one thing. Or if we want to use the external file, then we are going to create that link here just before the finishing of that the body as well. So let me create a new folder here. We say JS script. Okay, so it is a JS script. So inside, I just create a new file and then I say first.js. And here inside the HTML, if I want to write a JavaScript code, I have to enclose that inside the script tags. But here inside the JavaScript file, I don't need to. I can just declare a variable x is equal to 45, and then I say console dot log. I want to log the value, like, remember the type of the x value. So we want to find out the type of x value. And now if you see that still it is not doing it. Why? Because we have not created a link. We didn't tell our JavaScript the HTML file that where is my JavaScript code. So I just need to create a script, and then I say source, and then I say JS script, and inside we have this one, and then we close it. And as soon as we do that, look at that. Inside this one, inside the JavaScript code, I have written down the line x is equal to 45 and the console is equal to this. And now it is giving me the type. So if you look at that, it is telling me that the type of the variable x is number. And if I say x is equal to is a string, string value, and then put a semicolon. Again, if I save it automatically, so I say I just try to copy this line here and then do it again here. As soon as I save it here, it say only number. But when I say again, so what happened? It is printing me this message console.log. It is from here. That is coming from our header JavaScript code. And then after that, we are executing this code here, and this will change the heading contents. And then after that we are putting this line. So when I putting this line, so this means it comes to this line and start executing sequentially. So when I say x, it will say x equal to 45, define a variable, print the value of the, so it print the value of the type of that x variable is number. But when I say that change the value of x to a string value and then again try to print the type of the x, so it is giving me a string value. Okay, so now you can see that. So let me create a array. I say array is equal to some values again. So it could be like I can say true. It is a true value. Then I say it's a number 78.93. Then I can say also a big number, 78, and put an n value. And then I can say we have a string value. And then even I can put another array inside it, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so now you can see that this array is actually a dynamic one. I can put a boolean value inside, no problem. I can put a number there. I can put a big int value. We have a string value. I can put another array inside it. So this is our index value 0, this is index value 1, this is index value 2, 3, and 4. Okay, and because we did not change the, okay, let me, what you will do, I say console dot log, and then here I can say array. So when I say array, when I do that, so you can see that it is actually giving me that array value. At the 0 index value, we have a true value. At the index value 1, we have a 78.9. At the index value 2, we have a 78 n value, which is the large value, a large big int value. And then we have a string value. And then inside the index number 4, actually we have another array which has the index value 0, 1, 2, 3, and then it has the value 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is more like a dynamic array rather than a single type array that normally we have inside the Java. So again, because I have not defined this array as a constant, so what will happen if I say array and then assign a value, for example, 67, and then I just try to console that array again. When I do that, look at that. After that, first time it will print me that array, but next time it has loosed that address of that array, and now it has the value of 67. So this is we don't want to, and if we don't want to do that, don't allow these kind of a things errors, then we say it is a constant value, not count, it is a const value. And now if I do that, now what is saying that after the print of this console, this message on printing the array on the console, it is telling me that you cannot assign the value of the variable constant type, because it is a constant type variable. You cannot change its value. And then if I just try to console that console this where is my okay, because at this point it stopped executing this method and it does not doing it. So it is telling me the error message is from the first.js at the line number 13. So you can see that this is our line number 13. So it is also telling me in which file you have the error, and then at which point you have the error. And after that, it stop executing of these JavaScript code, and it does not execute the remaining lines. So this is a small practical. I show you how you can write the JavaScript code inside the header or the body, and then how we can write it inside the external file, and how we can connect our that external file with our JavaScript with the HTML file so that we can execute those things. So it's a small practical demo, and I think that we have finished our. This is the end of our lecture. So thank you very much. Have a good time.